Unavailable. Unknown.
Hi everybody, this is Sam. I'm doing my Sunday vlog. It's September 23rd. Yeah.
Notification of clock 6:52 p.m. Sunday 9:23.
Yeah, the 23rd. And I'm sitting here. It's about 6:30. I'm in my pajamas. I took my bath already. I wanted to talk about today. Today was pretty good. I basically hung out. Lakeisha came and saw me. She has a cold and she seems very worn out. But we did talk for a long time. I told her how I'm doing. I told her about art therapy. I told her about how I've been talking to Betty a lot. And, about her take on this with the spiritual attachments thing. And how we've been talking about how it's a lesson around, me taking control in my life and not letting anything push me around. And how that makes so much more sense than that I have a dissociative disorder. So we had a good discussion about that. I mean, she listened to what Stop. She listened to what I had to say, at least. I mean, I'm not going to tell everybody. Like, I'm not going to tell Dr. Clary. Like, I'm not. I don't think telling a psychiatrist that you sense ghosts is very good. Although maybe I could have tried that when I actually wanted antipsychotics. Like, that might have been actually good, but I don't know. I don't know if it would have worked. He's pretty smart. Like, I gotta give him that. Like, he was not gonna give in on that medication thing. But, anyways, I see him on Tuesday, so I'll just tell him I'm doing better, because I am. I mean, I have my Buspar, I think, did help me calm down about things. It was hard because I'd calm down, and then I get so calm, I'd be, like, detached and not even, like, care when I blacked out or, like, how long it happened. I'd just be like, well, I can't stop this. But then talking to Betty, it's like, well, yeah, I can. Like, I can, hold on to who I am and concentrate on just focusing on my life and my routines and stomping overhead. Listen to music or just like completely ignoring it, and the more I ignore it, the more it's going to go away, which is actually what staff have been doing with the boundaries, not giving me attention when I act that way, which is kind of what this is about too, just not giving it attention. And so that's really empowering to know, like, I can do this. And it's not some mysterious thing that's just taking me over and I have no idea why or what's going on. It's this spiritual being that has not passed into the spirit world yet and needs somebody's energy to function and live. And so they are, sort of around me and trying to stick to me and, like, draw out my energy through, when I get afraid or overwhelmed. Or I think even when I don't, because, like, legit, there are times that I'm not even afraid and it happens. But, I suppose just, like, whatever, it's, like, attracted to me, so it just does its thing. It's like when if you wear certain shampoo and you got bugs all over you from it, like, they just like the smell and the taste. I guess that's kind of like what this is. And like I said in my other video, it's due to, like, me being blind and, like, my other senses being, like, really sharp and including, like, an intuitive sense about things. And so then that kind of translates into, like, the energetic spiritual type realm. And I was kind of like, I was trying to explain this to Betty and I don't think she understood. I was like, well, couldn't I imagine, like, turning down that, like, intensity, so, like, I could still obviously sense what I need to sense, like, intuitively and everything else like that. And, like, I've always been good at reading people and situations, so that's kind of like the intuitive thing of what I mean. But couldn't I, like, turn it down so it doesn't go into that, like, higher, like, extreme realm of, like, sensing, like, ghosts or sensing spirits or whatever? And she's like, well, you can't imagine it because, like, you're already doing it, and, like, it's just kind of like how it is. Like, someone's hearing is just how it is, someone's vision is, you can't, like, change it. And I was like, oh, darn. Like, I wish I could. And then I was telling her about all these antics I was doing in my head, because, like, I'm reading the Tamora Pierce series, well, two of them, the Circle of Magic and the Immortals Quartet series, and it's all about it's all about kids, young adults or teenagers that discover they have magic in a world where they've been kind of pushed aside and told that like they don't have magic, or shunned in some way, and then they're sort of brought together with a teacher that can kind of guide them and help them to come into their sort of sense of self, and then this extra special kind of power. So they do stuff like spell nets and weaving fire into cloth, and just different things, traps and animals that freeze you into stone when you look at them too hard. And so I was like trying to do all this antics in my head about the same stuff. Like I was imagining like the characters in my head and like helping me like do this stuff. It worked for like a few days or like a day or whatever, but I had to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then whenever this thing took over and like they were asked like by Jess or whatever, well, didn't Sam just like do all this crud? And they're like, oh yeah, I got through that. Like that was not even an issue. So like, again, like what Betty was saying on just ignore it, and the more energy you give it by like even doing all those like fun, crazy antics, like that really didn't do anything except show them that I'm focusing on them, even though I didn't mean to. I was trying to get rid of them. And the other thing she said is that spells, like actual spells for people that cast spells, need your energy to cast it, but they need your energy to keep it going too. So that's why you always have to be like, making sure it's good, because I guess it just doesn't stay permanent like it says in the books that it does. So I was like, okay, just kidding, I won't be doing that anymore. But I'm like, how...
Do you realize those books are fiction?
Yeah, I know. But everything feels so unreal with this that I could like really easily like slip into fantasy, and I thought I could use like the fantasy stuff to help with this unreal stuff, because it felt like on the same like line as like some sort of fantasy thing. So I felt like I could kind of like fight it on that scale, she has no idea. But yeah, so we were talking about that today, and then like I said, she just basically said like don't give my energy to these things, which makes more and more sense, and that I can get through this, and that I'm a strong person, and that I have a really good sense of self, and just need to continue to strengthen like my energetic like internal boundaries. Basically doing the same thing that I have been doing, except just try to be more relaxed about it and don't do anything crazy. So I felt really good about we talk all day, and I feel so bad because like she's the one person that I feel like I can talk to about all this, but she's like doing her own life and stuff. Like she writes like novels, and like she writes murder mysteries. I'm gonna have to like maybe I'll do book reviews. That would be so good. On YouTube, that would keep me busy. I have the blog reviews, but I don't have like video reviews. That would be cool. Anyway, so like she does her writing. Like I was reading an interview, and it was like, I write all day. Like I have to write these books every couple months, and because she's really into her writing. So I hope I don't interrupt her from her writing, and I hope I'm not being like a complete pain, and just everything. But it's just so hard having lost like all my online friends. But hopefully I can find more friends, like, and now that I understand this a lot more, like at least intellectually, I can like hopefully just like leave it alone and not worry. Jess is laughing at me. No, seriously, we had like life-changing conversation today on Facebook. It was like legit amazing. So I'm kind of like on a new perspective with it. She'll believe that when she sees it.
Doy.
But yeah, the other thing we were talking about though, and what I wanted to ask, and it's a really awkward, like, deep question, or like vulnerable, I don't know, like, so there's like the blacking out, like however you call that, the blocking out of my consciousness by whatever. So that's like one whole set of problems. The other whole set of problems is the panic and the stuff that goes on where my brain is just like completely like screwed up, like all the processes you can think of, except, well, breathing does get interfered with because I feel like I can't breathe, but I'm still alive and everything, but all the processes you can think of otherwise, like talking, walking, whatever, get screwy, and sometimes not all at once, but that's what I was dealing with for months, was like this sensory stuff, this communication stuff. And I wish I had made videos of me, because I wish I had shown people like what it was like, so that maybe they could have like related to it. So I get worried about that, because that isn't just a thing of like with the with this voices and the spirit thing. Betty says, just refocus, like put on music, like do whatever, take a bath, and usually I can like I can distance myself from it and whatever. The panic and stuff, like once it gets started, and I don't know like if there's a marker, because I haven't let it, like I've only had a few panic attacks and they kind of just took over. But there have been other times when like I felt like the very beginning of like feeling like my legs were freezing up, or like I had trouble breathing or whatever, and then if I don't stop it right then somehow, then I know it's going to get worse. And like literally what happened was I was locked into that state off and on for months. And like when I mean like off and on, it would come and go, and like I would wake up and be like, okay, today's a new day, I'm not going to worry about it. Like it would just happen like naturally. Like there was really nothing I could do about it. Like honestly, I tried everything and it just was stuck, and I was stuck in this like trauma response where I was always alert to every noise, every touch, everything, on like a million, or I was just completely zoned and like really not hearing or feeling, as in textures, sensory feeling on my skin, very much, or whatever. I mean, it was that high or that low on different areas, and some of it was fine and then some of it wasn't. But anyway, so I feel like that's a separate issue than the spirit, the first thing. I think that's another thing, and I can understand this thing better in the context of a trauma response, because you have like the whole fight, flight, freeze thing, and the freeze is like when my legs, I feel like I can't walk or move my arms or whatever, my muscles will actually freeze up, or whatever, and I'm sure you can relate like other symptoms to those other categories. But one other symptom that feels really weird is when I touch something or sense something and it feels different than usual, like as if I've just discovered this thing, just sensed it, or just came in contact with it. It feels new like that, or it feels like there's a property of it that's changed. And tonight I had a really clear example of that, and I wanted to like put it out there to see if anyone else has experienced this, and like if it's called anything, or like what people do. So I started to feel panic like after dinner, and so then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take a bath, like I'm just gonna do my thing. And I'm like walking around, and I would just stop and stand there and like literally not be thinking of anything, and just would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing, literally. And then like I went in and was trying to fill the tub, and the plug wasn't in right, because we have this plug on a chain, and like it literally has to be like lined up exactly with the hole that's a drain. It was like it's a really old tub. So I went to do that, and I had my hand in the water so I could make sure it was like filling up, and as it was filling up, so it went from like like drops of water that wasn't really coming together because there wasn't enough water in the thing to make a surface. And of course, like how would I even be tuned into that? Like you don't really pay attention to how water forms itself in a thing. But so I first noticed that, and then I noticed as I had my hand on it, the water kind of turning into the surface of itself. And then I noticed that when I was moving my hand on it, it felt really like bouncy and solid in a way, between solid and liquid. And it felt kind of like jello, or I don't know, just this different substance between solid and liquid that had a really bouncy, wave-like quality. And of course, just as like there are waves in water, but this felt different. And it was so weird. because it was so different, and I don't know why it felt like that, and I don't know what was going on. And then, like, a second later, like, it was normal again. So, like, I don't know if my mind is just totally playing tricks on me or what, but I wanted to, like, talk about that to see if, like, anyone else had ever experienced it with, like, an object or an experience where it just, something gets amplified. I mean, obviously, maybe, you take in that, like, water is like that, like, within, like, less than a half a second, like, your brain just registers it. But maybe, like, something got, like, really slowed down so that particular thing became so in focus that's how it got, like, translated to me. Because I was only focused on that one thing, even though it didn't feel like it. Like, it felt like I was just normal, but then I was getting in all these impressions of what it was. So, yeah, that's what I experienced. And I feel better for, like, just saying it. And hopefully I can, not have that happen again, or tell more people, and hopefully someone will understand and know what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, if you've ever had weird experiences like that, I would love to hear about them. And I know it's really scary. Like, I was really worried to, like, say, like, I felt water differently. Like, like, I don't know how else to say it. But, like, do you understand now what I mean?
Go on with your conversation.
Okay. But no, so other than that, like, I'm good. I'm good now. And, like, I will talk to Megan. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to talk to Megan about, like, the spirits thing, because it might just be something that isn't even an issue for her to do, because if I'm doing this stuff correctly, with Betty helping me and whatever, I'm getting more and more understanding of what to do, then this shouldn't really be an issue that I need anyone else's help on, because I'm getting the support I need on it. If it changes, it changes. But I think I'm definitely going to talk to her about, like, the panic and the weird body movement freezing thing, and the different things that would go on, and how that stuck, and so what should I do, and everything else like that, because I don't want to overwhelm somebody with, like, letting it get really bad, and, like, it's just complicated. So I don't know, I guess I just need to really talk to her, and we only had one meeting, so this meeting will be, like, kind of diving into more stuff. And I'm not sure if I would tell her about the water thing, because that is kind of out there. But maybe if people are like, yeah, I've experienced this, and it's called whatever, and it has, like, a mental term, and then I can be like, hey, I'm experiencing blah blah, do you know about it? So yeah, other than, like I said, I think I've had a really good day. I've just been, like, I also merged, I have a audio program that I can merge files. So someone gave me these books, but the files were all divided into chapters, and it wasn't a whole book file. So it took me a while to, like, figure that out. So I finally figured out how to, like, merge it. And now I think I can finally read these books that I really wanted to read, like Kathy Glass book and some other books. So yeah, that's been my vlog of, like, my exciting day in the life of my head, which is always a mystery now. So, anyway, I will talk to you all later. Bye.
My movie web stop.